Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video today, we are checking out why Krispy Kreme failed in Australia. And yeah, so I didn't know it failed in Australia, but Krispy Kreme is massive over here. Even if you don't go to one of the restaurants, you can still get the donuts in the supermarkets, which is kind of crazy. You can like buy them pre-made pretty much. So I'm kind of surprised that Krispy Kreme did fail in Australia, but I also found out that Starbucks failed in Australia. So let's get right into it.
Krispy Kreme opened in Australia in 2003. People from across the country made their way to Sydney to buy as many donuts as they could carry. But 7 years later, Krispy Kreme closed half of their stores and laid off a third of their workforce.
Wow.
So how did they go from hyped obsession to totally forgotten?
I would say probably one of the main reasons before even watching this video is the price, because Krispy Kreme, you can't have it a lot. Like, it's got to be had on really special occasions because the price of Krispy Kreme donuts are so expensive. So let's see the actual reason. I'm kind of curious about this. I always like these type of videos.
When the company was started in the 1930s by 18-year-old Verdun Rudolph and his uncle Ishmael, the smell of hot donuts wafting from the ovens drew passers-by who begged to buy them straight from the ovens.
Krispy Kreme got so popular that Vernon and Ishmael cut a hole in the wall of the factory to sell the donuts right away. But in 1976, an international conglomerate called Beatrice Foods bought the brand. They sold everything from luggage to bras to, well,
what?
Donuts.
Why would they sell that?
They pushed Krispy Kreme away from their original identity in the name of profit.
They even committed the ultimate crime, changing the fabled donut recipe that had been in place since the beginning. The outraged individual store owners banded together and bought back the company in 1982. It sparked a resurgence and a decade of rapid expansion. In 2001, Krispy Kreme expanded into Canada, which was relatively successful. That drove them to look across the globe to Australia.
The first Australian store opened in Penrith, a suburb of Sydney, and sales were through the roof. It was reported that some people traveled more than 1,000 miles to try the original glazed. And it wasn't uncommon to see people returning on airplanes at the Melbourne airport with bags full of Krispy Kreme donuts.
See, this is crazy to me. Like, I like Krispy Kreme. They mentioned the original glazed donut. That is a very good donut. But I wouldn't travel with it. I wouldn't go through this much effort. Really? Like, I like Krispy Kreme. It's like a nice treat, but I wouldn't go that far. I know the Americans really like it. It's big over in the United Kingdom, but it's not on the level as it is in the United States.
This kind of donut craze wasn't unprecedented for Krispy Kreme. Throughout their history, they relied on buzz and word of mouth.
This strategy continued in Australia, where it donated to local charities
to
create an emotional connection with the community. They also gave away a lot of free donuts and other samples.
And who wouldn't be excited by a free donut?
Just after their launch, Krispy Kreme Australia immediately began scaling up. They grew from 1 store to 50 and employed 660 staff members at their height.
And even though it kept scaling upwards, its profit didn't.
The Australian branch's revenue rose 6.9% in 2009. But net profit margins were up only $62,000, or 0.1%.
They only made $62,000 profit. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. If someone gave me $62,000, I'm going to be happy. But as like a massive business like Krispy Kreme, that is really bad. So it looks like the Australians just automatically rejected it. Do you guys have like a Krispy Kreme alternative or something? Let's see.
In the same year, according to Dun & Bradstreet's company. The lack of profit was partially because Australian Krispy Kreme just had too many stores. In 2010, the US had 224 stores, serving a population of 311 million. That equaled around 1 store for 1.4 million people. But Australia had 50 stores for 21 million people.
Oh yeah, they just had too many stores.
Which was about 1 store for 420,000 people. It's also because Australians don't want to eat donuts every day, according to ABC. They reported that in Australia, donuts are a treat, not breakfast. That's supposed to be because of the low-carb fad that permeated diet culture in the late 2000s.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Like, Americans seem to always eat donuts. At least this is like a stereotype. That's what I've seen in movies and TV, and I guess they're trying to say it's true. Whereas in the United Kingdom too, donuts are like a very special treat. You are not having them very often. You're not having them, especially for breakfast. That'd be weird.
And increasingly health-conscious Australian customers.
That led to 2010, when the news came out.
Several factors, including location, sales declines, high rents, and high distribution costs, have meant that a number of stores are losing money. John McGinnon, Krispy Kreme's Australian CEO, said at the time, the company was going to go into administration, which meant that an outside firm, in this case the accountancy firm Smith Hancock, would evaluate and cut out the parts of the chain that were unprofitable. The aftermath was 35 closed stores and 200 plus employees laid off.
That is sad when
Today,
employees get
Krispy Kreme
fired.
in Australia sells donuts in almost every 7-Eleven, outside of the remaining stores.
A good compromise between keeping their footprint small for cost savings and expanding their reach. The lesson? Know the demand before you expand.
Okay, so this video is very interesting about why Krispy Kreme failed in Australia, and it seems they kind of overestimated their success. There is no reason why Krispy Kreme should have more stores in Australia per 1 million people than the United States. And I feel it's kind of similar to the United Kingdom, where it says that Americans are often eating donuts. I know it's a stereotype, but that's what the video said as well. Whereas in Australia, it seems like the United Kingdom, where donuts are more of like a special treat. You're not eating donuts every day. You're not eating donuts every week, probably. Maybe monthly, maybe every few months. No one is having Krispy Kreme that often. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. But I'm kind of surprised there's not like a competitor to Krispy Kreme that kind of wiped them out in Australia. Because I watched a video about why Starbucks failed, and they kind of spoke about more people just rejected Starbucks coffee straight up. They just didn't like it all, and they preferred to go an Australian brand instead. So this video is definitely very interesting about why Krispy Kreme failed in Australia. I always like these videos because Krispy Kreme is a massive brand. They still seem to be surviving in Australia, so it's not a complete failure. I thought they just kind of overestimated their success, and the difference in the culture is the main reason why they failed. If you guys like this video, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.